Hi, everybody. Welcome to the ATR podcast. We are a little bit late today. Yes, a couple of you mentioned that. Just now, Mikey P, who was just saying it's 2 p.m. Eastern time. But so for starters, thank you for hanging in with us because we got a lot to talk about today. There's a little bit of a big game going on tonight. We'll see about that in a minute. I'm your host, Marc Williams, and I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend with the guns that could never be taken away by the government. Right? I had a joke for this, but Mr. John Volkowski.
Jack Eichel?
Every time we mention Jack Eichel, we at least get it up a little bit more, like our ratings. Actually, I do get it up a little bit thinking about Jack Eichel as a Ranger. All right. And also the man who is sitting on pins and needles right now, praying for his Islanders to win tonight, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
Yeah, absolutely. It's already have the nerves going, and like I say, FIlk does have the guns out. And listen, I go to the gym by myself. If I lived closer to him, I would hopefully be his gym partner because it's better when you go with somebody. But we live far apart. But anyway, big game tonight. Let's go.
See, I kind of disagree with that. I like to just put on my headphones, put my head down, and do all my my work. I'd be at the gym right now, but unfortunately, we got a hockey game to talk about. I was going to say a playoff preview, but all the Islanders preview. Wow, I am just batting 1,000 on these graphics so far. All right, so series is tied at 3. I'm going to be putting up some of these graphics on what is going on, what happened with every single game. It's going to be on USA Network tonight, not NBC Sports. Everybody remember that. And we're going to start off with a little – a what?
Olympic trials. That's why you could thank the Olympics for that.
Why are they showing Olympic trials?
You know what, Marc? Sorry, I actually just looked at my app on the NHL. It says it's on NBC Sports tonight, not USA Network.
Oh, they were saying it was on okay, I will fix that in the thing. But first, we're going to do a little bit of trash talk, and we're going to start with Anthony, who's going as the New York Islanders.
Oh, wow, I'm a little unprepared. I didn't know this was coming right now.
Show up on time.
Yeah. All right, so once again, I'll stick with my my rock shtick. So here we go. Tampa Bay Lightning, defending Stanley Cup champions. You find yourself in a Game 7 with the New York Islanders tonight. The Rock told you at the beginning of the series that Adam Pelech and Ryan Pullock were going to be on point like flies on shit. And yes, Brady Point has done excellent. The Islanders have shut down Steven Stamkos aside from one game and have given the Tampa Bay Lightning secondary scoring nothing. Here's what The Rock says is going to happen tonight. Nikita Kucherov, while you're being a little girl, maybe not playing tonight, The Rock wants you to get tickets and sit right by the front row. The very front row. And when Matt Barzal comes blazing down the ice on that side, he wants you to look in his eyes and say to yourself, damn, he's got better hair than me. No, but seriously, Kucherov, The Rock says you don't have enough sugar in that sack of yours that you call testicles to play in tonight's game because you're afraid. And The Rock means afraid of getting hit by Clutterbuck, Martin, and Cizikas all night long and getting hurt even further. So that's fine, Kucherov. You can stay home and watch your team go down to the New York Islanders as they march their way onto the Stanley Cup Finals. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
And in our playoff preview for this round, I had to do it. So finally, this is back where it belongs with Mr. John Volkowski of Tampa Bay.
Ooh. Tampa Bay! Ric Flair is back. Woo! And he's looking at you, New York Islanders, coming around here trying to style and profile like only the Nature Boy can. Woo! You can't do it like me. I am the 60-minute man, baby. Woo! I'll tell you this right now, Islanders, with your trash bag throwing crap on the ice fan base after you win at a game. You don't know what class is, baby. I know what class is. I am class. And to be the man, you've got to beat the man. And whether you like it or not, the Tampa Bay Lightning are the best thing going today. You want to know why? Because we have got the scorer of all scorers in Braden Point. We don't need to take out people by cross-checking them in the ribs like Scott Mayfield. We don't need to try to get all the calls in our favor to try to win a series. We don't need to do any of that because I can walk the walk and I can definitely talk the talk, and the Tampa Bay Lightning have done all of that. We did it without Nikita Kucherov for 56 games, and we'll do it again if he's out. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not letting you know whether my boy is playing or not. Not that easy. You're going to have to earn it, and you're going to have to find out. So if you want blood, sweat, and tears is what it's going to take to beat the Nate and become the champion. And I'll tell you right now, Islanders, when we're done with you, those guys up in Montreal, we're coming right for them. We're going to take our belt, we're going to walk all over them, and we're going to hoist it high in the air. Woo! Because let me tell you right now, my shoes cost more than your damn house. And I'll tell you right now, this game is going to end with heartbreak on Long Island. All of you fans in your Defend New York t-shirts, you ain't going to want to have those after you're done with us tonight. So I'm going to tell you right now, I will strut all over you because Space Mountain is open for business and it's all night long. Woo!
That is actually a little bit of Ric Flair on Ric Flair crime, as his woo is still used at the Coliseum after goals, Anthony.
No, that's not his woo.
Oh, is that his woo? His woo used to be used. I know that.
They've
His
used
woo is in Carolina.
Oh, all right.
No.
Oh,
No,
in
no.
the 90s, I know they used to do his woo.
The Islanders have used that woo for forever. I
By the
don't
way,
think it was
Ziga,
from.
100%
I
agree
mean, I
with
don't
you.
think it was from Ric Flair. I just think it was a.
No,
Was it the woo?
I think the Hurricanes used the woo.
the Hurricanes actually used Ric Flair's voice sample.
I mean, I guess that says it all. We're actually debating on where the woo came from right now. But I do have to say this before we start up. As much as I predicted that the Lightning were going to lose, I was still both not surprised and surprised at the same time when the Islanders won. I mean, it was weird. I was at the bar and I was the voice of reason. Like everybody else, they were ready to throw down their jersey and walk out, just like the one guy did in the footage of Game 5. But I kept on saying, especially after Everly's goal, Vasilevsky has shut out the opposition in the last 3 closeout games. Now, he's also lost one of those chances to close out, like against Florida this year, and he did it against tried to do it against the Islanders. Nope, that was 2-1 last year. So it's as soon as the Islanders scored, you knew they had a chance, and then I'm winning in overtime. Scott Mayfield, that's a snipe. We'll see how it all shakes out tonight. Anthony, first we'll get a quick thought on Game 6 and what you're looking forward to Game 7.
Well, I mean, we said before with Game 6, it was important for the Islanders to score first if they wanted to win. Every game this series, the team that scored first won. So when Tampa Bay got that first goal from Braden Point, immediately I was like, oh man, but. And again, it was just 1-0, so I wasn't that concerned yet, just because it was so early. But when Cirelli scored to make it 2-0, my heart kind of sunk there. And and at that point, the Coliseum got quiet for, a couple of minutes. But then the Eberle goal woke up the Coliseum, and from there you sense the life in the building. And you then sense that the Islanders believe that they were in this game. But that Eberle goal started with Barzal. He got the puck in the defensive zone. He got ahead of steam, which is when he's most dangerous, going north. And McDonough, and I don't know the other Lightning defense on the ice at the time, but they just kept backing up. They were giving him space, and that enabled him to get the drop to Eberle. And Eberle, I think he surprised Vasilevsky with the backhand. I don't know if Vasi thought that he was going to get as much on it as he did.
He definitely surprised him.
Tricky. Goalies say what?
He definitely surprised him.
What'd you say?
He definitely surprised him. Did Vasilevsky, if you look at the reaction, didn't think it was coming.
And backhands are tough for goalies to track as well. Sometimes you don't really know exactly where the puck's going to go on a backhand. So it was a good shot by Eberle. It was a good backhand. He got a lot on it. Unfortunately, he found the net. And like I said, after that, the Islanders had life. And that Mayfield, man, I mean, for a guy, obviously he's not an offensive defenseman, but I think that also surprised Vasilevsky. Vasilevsky went down. He didn't really give him much. Mayfield put the puck where it had to go. And I think that also caught Vasilevsky by surprise. He probably thought that, Mayfield wasn't a threat to snipe like that. And Mayfield, it was a really good shot. He placed it well. And then once the Islanders tied the game, that's when you started to believe, okay, well, they came back from 2 on Tampa Bay, and now it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game, and they got it to overtime. And I remember I said to my wife, my heart can't take a long overtime. Like, whatever the outcome is, like whether it be Tampa Bay winning or the Islanders winning, like I just hope it happens early, because I don't want to sit through a 2 overtime game only to be heartbroken, or on the other hand, just have all this anxiety until the Islanders finally put the puck in the net. They did a good job. They got the puck deep, and then they forced a turnover. Nelson came in hard, disrupted the Tampa Bay defenseman, and then Blake Coleman collected the puck, and I don't know what he was thinking. He made a really dumb play. I don't know if he didn't think that Beuvillier was going to close in as fast as he did, but Beuvillier read it and shot right away. Beat Vasilevsky, and I don't think Vasilevsky was set either. He probably didn't expect that turnover. He turned the puck over, and he had to get set quick, and Beuvillier beat him with a good shot. So, that was amazing in the sense that I didn't think they were going to come back when they were down 2-0, and they did, and that should give them confidence going into tonight. But that was a good Game 6. It was a good Game 6. It was fast-paced. It was physical at times. I thought it was a really good hockey game.
FIlk, your thoughts?
There were times where I thought Tampa played well. I don't think they played well enough in that game. I thought the Islanders controlled a lot of that game, but the Eberle goal, Colin was actually hooked on, and there was no call on it. There's actually a tweet that I sent in the group chat that shows you a video of it itself, and Colin's arm is literally being dragged. He's literally being water skied on. There was no call on that, which is horrendous. I don't know how you missed that. It was blatant. Otherwise, Colin probably pokes that puck away from Eberle because he's really close at that point. I thought the Mayfield cross-check was dirty, and he should have been penalized for that. They didn't call that. Honestly, I thought the Islanders, like I said, they played well. They played well enough to win that game. I think Tampa Bay just shot themselves in the foot way too much last night. You can't have Victor Hedman doing what he did on some of those goals. He has to play better. I would say that Kucherov's status, unknown. We don't know what's going on with that. I think he might play. I think he might. I just, you know what? If it's a bruise or a sprain or whatever, you got to play through that at that point. Even if they use him in limited minutes like they did with Stamkos last year, where they had him come in and score that one goal and really kind of just sit out from there. I would try to use him in that type of goal. I think it would give a lift to Tampa Bay's locker room, knowing that he's going to be in there. and he's going to try to gut something out. But the Mayfield goal was really nice. That was just a well-placed shot. Vasilevsky cheated a little bit. I think Vasilevsky was trying to play pass because you could see he was down early on that, and Mayfield was high. And that's what you got to do when you got a goaltender down like that. So he placed it exactly where he needed to place it. It was a really nice goal. Like I said, I don't know what Coleman was doing on that play either. I mean, some of the goals that the Islanders are scoring are just straight up baffling mental mistakes by Tampa. Like, I don't know what they're thinking, what their line of thought is. Sometimes I think if Tampa Bay cleans themselves up tonight, they win this game. But if they keep playing with their heads in their asses like they did at times last night or the other night, then they're going to lose this game. So, I mean, I got to stick with my prediction of Tampa winning because I said they were going to win the series in 7. But, I mean, the Islanders having the momentum, it wouldn't shock me at all if they won this game. It really wouldn't.
I got to say, yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all if the Islanders win. More on that later. But it looked like Tampa, especially at the scoring that first goal, looked like they were trying to do a collapsing system and try to beat the Islanders at their own game in the defensive end. And then the Islanders kind of opened them up. I mean, Barzal with a great shift to open up the third period. Speed will often combat that. He backed them up for that early goal. And then he kept going. I think he tied up Victor Hedman as well on that play. But it's just as far as the Islanders went, they stayed in the game. They're mentally prepared. Trotz is doing a great job with that. He was talking in the press conference about making sure you still are in the moment, and they're in the moment. So again, it's one of those things. Trotz has been in this situation before with Washington, where Tampa went up 3-2. They went back home, and then they went back to Tampa and ended up beating them there. So there's a history with Barry Trotz with this. I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be 100% going the Islanders' way today, but I'm just, sorry, always looking at some of the comments that are coming in. But as far as I go, yeah, I was not surprised when the Islanders came back and won that game. That was their game to lose, even when they were down 2-0. So it leads us into who needs to step up for Game 7. And Anthony, you have to start with you. If Anthony's not frozen.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, he was just still.
I'm gonna go with Brock. I'm gonna go with Brock Nelson.
Okay.
What?
Because?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, Brock Nelson.
Those earbuds are awful.
Oh, right. Nelson. I think Nelson he had that one power play goal in Game 2, but he hasn't been himself. And like that Bruins game, he took over that game with those 2 goals against Boston that really got them going. But he needs to get on the offensive score sheet tonight. He needs to get pucks in net. He needs to use his wrist shot. He needs to create space for himself. He just needs to be a factor. That's all. He just needs to be a factor because Barzal's going. I thought he played an excellent game. Trotz called it his best of the series in Game 6. That shift he took in the third period of last game was just incredible. He was just toying with some pretty good skaters. So
I was Ryan McDonough, who's a good skater.
Going, if Nelson gets, yeah, absolutely, that's a great point. So if Nelson gets going too, that would be really beneficial to the Islanders.
And actually, Alex Diaz is saying that Nelson has gone off every single elimination game. Actually, Anthony, before I go over to John's guys who needs to step up, Sean has signed in to ask, will your heart be broken if the Islanders lose tonight? And do you have a lot of faith in the future?
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be absolutely heartbroken if the Islanders lose tonight. Listen, I'm 36 years old. I missed out on the Cup years. John knows I'm as diehard as it gets. Him and I used to go to games for $25 down by the glass during the real lean years.
15.
I always stuck by them. You know, my my yeah, my dad's a huge Islanders fan. The reason why, he's getting older and his health's not so great. So to see them go to the Stanley Cup Finals, even if they don't win it, and watch a game with him would just it would be mean so much to me. And honestly, when I really think about it, I could just like tear up thinking about that moment we could share. So yeah, they haven't been this close in my lifetime. So I'll be absolutely heartbroken if they lose. The second part, yeah, I do have faith in the future. Trotz behind the bench. He's what really gets the team going. The young core is still in place. Barzal, Sorokin, Dobson, Wallstrom, Nelson. So, yeah, I do have faith in the future, but this is the year to get it done.
I'm going to answer that question before I start saying anything. And no, there isn't a coach that's more valuable to his team than Barry Trotz with the Islanders, because this is almost, and I say almost, because this is a vast majority of the same team that Doug Waite had in 2017-18 when he was coaching that last season that John Tavares was there. A lot of this is the same team. And you saw the difference from that season to the next season. And I tell you right now, if you think coaching doesn't make a difference, then you're out there. You're not just out to lunch. You're checked out for good, because that's just, coaching absolutely makes a difference. As for my point, yeah, the Caps are definitely idiots for not giving him the money that he wanted. They should have absolutely given him the money and should have kept him there. They were stupid to let him go. So yeah, but honestly, I would say that the guy that has to step up for the Islanders, I know that some might find this odd, but I think if he plays to the level he can play at and be that guy and chip in offensively as well. JG Pageau. And if Pageau steps up and he gives you some offense while giving you that shutdown defense, the Islanders have a much better chance of winning this game. Obviously, another guy I could have said would have been Varlamov, but
before
Anthony.
We have you.
I was going to say, I wasn't sure. It's been cutting in and out, so I don't know if John was still talking.
No, I was still going. I was saying, yeah, his connection is bad. Whoever made the comment before about the Coliseum Wi-Fi is absolutely on point. It's not good right now, and I say that as my Wi-Fi is really not great here. But yeah, I would say Pageau for the Islanders. If he can give you if he can give you a little bit of offense, or at least give you some real good sustained possession time in the offensive zone, in addition to giving you that shutdown caliber defense, I think it goes a long way towards it. Obviously, Varlamov would have probably been my runner up there, but for the Lightning, I would say it's bad omen. I would say Victor Hedman for the Lightning. He's got to be better. He's just not really been himself in this series. I know he's hurt, but they're gonna ask him to play almost 30 minutes in this game, and Victor Hedman's got to be better than what he's been. For I guess for an honorable mention for Tampa, Steven Stamkos. I know you had your 2 goals in the other game, but you gotta come out now, and he's got to step up. So yeah, the stress of the playoffs messing with your life.
What I was about to say before my Wi-Fi got all wonky was when John mentioned Pageau. I just saw a comment on the bottom before, Marc, but he's playing hurt. After that game 2 where he didn't play like the last 14 minutes, and Trotz said after the game that he just tweaked something and he was going to play. You could tell he's playing with something. He hasn't he hasn't been the same player that I was beating the drum that he's the Islanders' Conn Smythe candidate if they make it. He's hurt, and if they God forbid lose today, I'm sure we'll find out that he needs maybe some treatment or I don't know about surgery, but he's playing hurt. So he's still playing good defensively, but he doesn't have that extra gear offensively right now. But he's definitely hurt.
Well, going into my guys, because again, I only do the road guys. I was gonna say Tampa, but in case if people aren't watching this, I love this comment because hockey players are the antithesis of NBA players. They need the days off just for rest. For Tampa, I'm gonna go completely off the board and say somebody that it sounds like you shouldn't have to say. Brayden Point, you have to step up. You can't just get a goal in the first period and be not heard of the rest of the game. He was absent in the third period in the Coliseum. He did okay in the first half of the second period. You got to be a force the entire way through. Is that a hot take? Yeah, it's a hot take. It's what hot takes are. So, now that guy's been playing great. He's got a shot at Reggie Leach, which is enough to talk about, that he can get to 19 goals in the playoffs should Tampa advance. And that's you're in that category. And Kucherov is putting up assist numbers. Wayne Gretzky is the only person he's being compared to. So we're going to discuss Kucherov in 1 second. As good as Trotz has been, he frustrates me. I'm going to say this: not playing Wahlstrom, I think, is a huge mistake by Trotz. You could say Komarov's a veteran and better defensively, but no, they need Wahlstrom. He was pretty good in the first 2 rounds. So, all right. First, before I even ask you guys about the headline after Game 7, Kucherov. I'm going to start with you, FIlk. Does he play tonight?
Yeah, I think he does. He wasn't in the optional skate, but that's not a surprise there. I didn't expect him to be in the optional skate this morning. I think he's going to play. I think it's gamesmanship on Cooper's part. I think he's absolutely going to play. Erik Chernak is probably going to play. From what I was reading, it sounds like he's going to be there. So Luke Shen wasn't bad, but Erik Chernak is definitely an upgrade over him, so that'll help them tonight. Ross Colton came back after getting hit by Matt Martin the other game, so he's going to play too. But I think Kucherov ultimately plays.
Quick question, because Alex says he got this, but I'm still looking it up. I don't see anything that says that if you got it, you could tell me your source. I knew that Kucherov was out for the morning skate, as we discussed.
Yeah.
I don't see anything saying he's out tonight.
No, I haven't seen anything.
All right, so we're going to be keeping up an eye on that. Yeah, and that's what we were saying too on the source. But so Anthony, if you're a Tampa, Kucherov plays.
I'm not so sure, only because it's not like he let in last game. He left in the last 10 minutes of the third and didn't come back. He left early in the first period, and he didn't come back in a game where they could have put the Islanders away. He must have been, legitimately hurt for him not to come back in that situation. He had all game to get whatever treatment and get back on the ice. So I think that tells you it's not just a little injury here. The question is, whatever he has, was he able to receive, treatment enough to make him comfortable to play? But at the same time, we don't know what his injury is. There are some injuries that no matter what you do, he never returned in Game 6. So that tells me that he does have, like I said, a somewhat serious injury. So we'll see. I mean, I don't think he's going to play, but if he does, I won't be surprised. And if he does play, he clearly won't be at 100%, and the Islanders will try to exploit that. They'll be hard on him any minute they can, hit him, and make him uncomfortable. But I'm leaning towards probably not playing.
That's why I say if he could give it even 60%, then you at least be on the bench and you take the power plays with the team. The Islanders had a similar situation with that way back when with Pierre Turgeon when he was playing Montreal when he came back with a separated shoulder. But because putting in Pullock in his spot did not help the Lightning at all. So, and Anthony FIlk is checking on the news. What is your headline after Game 7?
Well, this is really tough. I'm nervous as hell, anxious, a lot riding on this game, and the Lightning, the defending Cup champs. Islanders did take one in Tampa, so they can win there. It's just, it's gonna be a really hard game. Tampa Bay could absolutely win, and I guess honestly, just for the sake of not having any negative juju, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, Islanders steal Game 7 in Tampa, go to the finals first time since 1984, and only because, like I said, I just not that I totally 100% believe that. I just don't want any sort of negative belief inside me right now. So I'm gonna say Islanders march to the finals for the first time since '84.
FIlk?
I didn't see anything. I just checked Twitter, didn't find anything on it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to. I have to stick with my prediction. I predicted Tampa in 7. I'm gonna have to say Lightning advance for a chance to back-to-backs.
And hold on, wait. Islanders dethrone the chance, move on to the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since '84.
Your lips to God's ears. Your lips to God's ears, man.
FIlk, I gotta get help, man, because I predicted Tampa in 7, and this is exactly the way that I said it was gonna go. And I'm leaning towards that the Islanders are gonna win this game, and I really don't want to. But I'll still go Tampa survives on to beat Carey Price.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not 100% confident that they win, but I got to stick with my prediction here. I can't abandon my prediction. I can see the Islanders winning this game.
That's right, Mike. Don't worry. There's plenty of range of talk that we got going on right now.
Yeah.
And a matter of fact, actually, that's a pretty good segue into the next thing. So, guys, what do you think? Is Anthony's Wi-Fi as good as the Coliseum's Wi-Fi? Is our predictions going to be dead on in the end? Where John and I said Tampa in 7. Anthony can't be right now. He said Islanders in 6. But still, the Islanders going to advance their first Stanley Cup final since 1984, or will there be no island left for Islanders like me, as Billy Joel once said? So, guys, you have to understand Tampa. Well, but they've been in this position and they've won. They've gone to the Garden and beat the Rangers. So, are you
years ago?
Yeah, Anthony, you on Optum?
Yeah.
And this is, by the way, there also is a bit of that. Tampa's got guys that have beaten the Islanders before, so that's going to be in there. All right, we're going to go to our B block and do some bar talk. And I should have had that ready to queued up. And I missed. Where is it? There it is. All right, let's.
I'm going to take a shot on this one. I'm going to say beer.
I'm buying everybody around on this. Oh my God.
All right. Well, by the way, Mike also says that they both equally suck. So for the internet providers. But welcome to ATR Bar Talk, where we gauge our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. So, first things first, as it applies to tonight. first goal wins the game, Mr. Laraco?
Well,
Still in that Wi-Fi.
every game prior, other than Game 6, that's been the case. The Islanders changed that. The Islanders changed that script last game. But I mean, in this magnitude of a Game 7, I could see if Tampa Bay scores being at home, they have all the momentum and go from there. Or if the Islanders get the first goal, I could see maybe the doubt within not the players, but the fight, and Islanders take that game away. So yeah, I'm gonna say first goal wins this game. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go round on that. I'm gonna say round. They said whoever scores first is gonna win this game.
FIlk.
You know what? After the last game, I thought that the 2-0 lead would really hamper the Islanders, and I thought the Islanders were done. After the first goal, I didn't think that Tampa Bay had necessarily had the game in hand. At the second goal when Cirelli scored, that was like, oh wow! I was like, I don't know if the Islanders are going to be able to come back from this. And they came back from it. So I'm going to say beer. I mean, the first goal definitely helps in a Game 7 historically. Usually the team that scores first in the Game 7 wins. But you know what? I saw Dallas and St. Louis 2 years ago in the Western Conference Finals. And us Ranger fans needed that first goal and needed the Stars to get to the Stanley Cup Finals so they could get that first round pick from Dallas. And Zuccarello scored that first goal. And they lost that game. So I'm going to say beer here.
By the way, do you remember who scored the game-winning goal in that game?
Yeah, you don't need to remind me. It's that big dude that plays on Tampa Bay right now.
Yeah, because that was going to be the next one. Where does he play? Anthony's Wi-Fi is really bad. Gigabit service. All right, well, we'll work on that. We're actually getting we might get a Wi-Fi sponsorship out of this. I'm actually going to go beer only because if the Islanders score first, Tampa still gets to dictate the matchups, and if you're dictating the matchups, usually you can come back.
That's a big factor.
That is a huge factor to be able to dictate those matchups, and it's also a big factor, obviously, if Nikita Kucherov is in. To our next one, Varlamov needs to outplay Vasilevsky. Anthony, got to go back to you to see if your Wi-Fi works.
He looks frozen.
He looks frozen. Hold on. See if I can fix that. Da-da. Nope. Okay, John. Vasilevsky needs to outplay Varlamov.
I'm going to say round here. I think if the Islanders really want to win, then Semyon Varlamov really has to be like at his very best in this game, because goaltending wins in the playoffs. That's just an undisputed fact. We've seen what Carey Price did to the Vegas Golden Knights, but Varlamov absolutely has to outplay Vasilevsky tonight in order for them, I believe, to win this game. He's got to be good. He's got to be really good.
I'm gonna have to buy everybody around on this. It's when it comes down to Game 7, it's the goaltenders. So as we're getting an up close look at Anthony's crotch, so it's it comes down to goaltending, I think, and in a single game elimination. And if that's going to be the case, you're going to need your goalie to step up. Is it going to be the Vezina Trophy winner, or is it going to be Anthony is meditating on an Islanders victory right now? If you could call Optimum during the week for support, you might be. Oh, there we go. So Mike's offering assistance.
Yeah.
I switched to my my cell phone over my iPad. Is this any better?
This is much better. I'm getting you without a delay. So
yeah.
Yes, Optimum Wi-Fi. It sucks. So I'm a Verizon guy anyway, and I'm hardwired, so I don't have to worry about that. And so Varlamov needs to outplay Vasilevsky.
I said I'm gonna go beer with that. Only because I thought last game in Game 6, I don't necessarily think that Varlamov outplayed Vasilevsky and the Islanders still won. I just think Varlamov just needs to be good. I don't think he needs to be outstanding. If the Islanders play their game and stay within their structure and can generate a lot of chances on Vasilevsky, I think he just has to be good. I don't know if he necessarily has to outplay him. I mean, it definitely won't hurt, but I don't think it's like an end all be all where he absolutely has to. So that's why I'm going to say beer.
And you know what? I think one thing that could back you up with that a little bit is that the Islanders system isn't predicated on their goalie being the greatest thing in the world. They don't need to have the goalie stand on their head. They just need to limit the shots. If they keep Tampa the outside, if they're in Game 1, they'll be fine.
No, you're both right about that. But the reason why
I'm on my video call.
Okay. The reason why I said round, though, was because of the fact that I think Tampa Bay is going to clean up a lot of the dumb mental mistakes they were making in the previous game. Whether Kucherov is in or out, I think you're going to see a lot more of a disciplined Tampa Bay team, and that's why I think it's going to be tougher. I think Vasilevsky is going to come down from the last game. I don't think Vasilevsky was at his best the last game. He made some good saves, but he was not his best the last game. He has to be better than Vasilevsky, and that's the question. Does Varlamov have to be godlike? No. The Islanders can help win. The Islanders can play their game. He doesn't have to be on a top-tier level to win it. But he's got to be better than Vasilevsky, and I think Vasilevsky is going to rebound after last game. So, and I also think Tampa's going to clean up a lot of the garbage that they were doing in the previous game as well. So I think this is going to be tough.
And you know what? Just to extend out of this, we keep talking about Tampa needing to break through the Islanders' defense. What about Islanders needing to break through Tampa's defense? John Cooper is a capable coach. He's more than capable of closing everything up and telling them to play defensive hockey. And he's been calm throughout this entire thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets their ducks in a row defensively. Moving on to the New York Rangers, where we're going to be talking about Matthew Tkachuk is a better trade target than Jack Eichel. FIlk, I'm going to go with you on this one.
I'm going to say shot. I say this because he's simply a winger. If there was no Chris Kreider or Pavel Buchnevich, I would say sure. Then you know what? Let's go after Jack Eichel. Matthew Tkachuk. I'm sorry, but Matthew Tkachuk is the exact type of player they need. He just doesn't play the position that they need him to play. I mean, if he was a center, I would say the hell with Jack Eichel. Let's go get Tkachuk and let's stop worrying about Eichel. But I love the player itself. I don't love the position. That's why I think the Rangers are going to end up with Eichel. So I'm going to say shot here.
Anthony.
I'm going to say shot just because I don't think the Calgary Flames are actually going to move Tkachuk. So that alone makes me say shot. I mean, if the player specifically, I think he fits the Rangers better, minus the position. Obviously, you need help with center, but I don't think the Flames are going to trade Tkachuk. So that's why I'm saying shot there. But I do like Matthew Tkachuk a lot as a player, and especially with Gaudreau possibly being traded, I think it would be silly for them to even think about moving Tkachuk.
I think Gaudreau's a free agent.
No, I think
he's got one more year on his deal.
He's got one more year.
Hold on.
Yeah, because they were talking about moving at the trade deadline, which would have been a lot smarter than doing it right now. I'm going to make it a sweep. It's and almost the exact same points for everything. I love Matthew Tkachuk. I think he's a great player, but no, he's not a center. They need a center. You got to have somebody with more top test than Ryan Strome.
Yep, so, you're right. 1 year left.
Yeah, that's why. And you know what? While we're on this, what exactly is the market for Gaudreau? I mean, they haven't heard anything. Like, I understand Eichel's been dominating the news, but that it looks like the Ducks really want Eichel, and they're willing to shell out as much money as they can.
I really don't believe that. I just it doesn't make sense. Why would they go and gut their team and move backwards with it? Because then when you give up those assets, then you've got to replenish your assets in some sort of other way. Because their cupboard's going to be bare if they make that trade for Eichel. Even if they don't give up Zegras and Drysdale, they have to give up everything else that they have to get him. What are they going to do? I mean, Adam Henrique's not going to go the other way. Buffalo ain't going to take that contract.
Yeah, but the third overall holds a lot of value. You're going to get a pretty good player at third overall.
In this draft, not as much as previous drafts.
So in that case, before we move on from Eichel, is there a mystery team that we're not seeing?
I never believed Columbus. I thought that was a smokescreen. I don't buy Calgary. I agree with Anthony. I don't think Matthew Tkachuk is traded. I think Monahan or Gaudreau is moved before that happens. There's definitely a culture shift that needs to happen in Calgary. That needs to change. Like I said, Columbus, no. Carolina doesn't have the cap space to do it. They've got enough problems to worry about with Hamilton as it is to begin with. Who else is really in?
That's where the great question is. Every single time we go back to Eichel, I keep on saying, and I'm going to say the same thing I said in the group chat to you. It also is that way you could call me an idiot. Actually, didn't do that in the group chat, but you can do that here. It makes for good television. But I don't see Eichel's value being anywhere near what Buffalo wants it to be and what they're asking for in their trades. So therefore, I think they got to bring him back. Like, you can't. I know it's impossible. And again, John, you're right. You're right about it.
They can bring him back just in the sense of him being under contract for a lot longer, but it wouldn't make sense to bring him back because, he doesn't want to be there. The only reason for doing that would be out of spite, but that would be dumb on their part too. But I don't see any way he's back. He's back in Buffalo. I really don't. I think they're going to trade him. As far as dark horses, I know they've been mentioned, so I don't know if you call them a dark horse, but I would say Philly or Minnesota. I think they both could have the pieces to get that done. If Philly wanted to trade, like I said, Farabee or Konecny, along with why am I all of a sudden drawing a blank on Alexis? Wanted to attach to. I mean, what?
Or Cam York? He would have to be in that deal.
Yeah. I just don't think Philly makes a lot of sense. I don't. They're not high on Jay O'Brien, who they took in the 2018 draft. That he was a first rounder for them. You know what? Philly, they're another team that if they made that trade, they would really kind of like rob their cupboard dry of depth. And I think they might have some salary cap issues with that too, because Carter Hart, whether you like it or not, is going to need a new contract. He's going to need a new deal. You're looking at Konecny. He's probably going to need a new deal. Maybe Konecny goes for Eichel, and maybe that's where the salary comes from. I don't know, but I don't know if I really buy. Minnesota, I could buy. They're in a position where they have the need to make the deal. They have some assets that they could, but I think they're bone dry once they make that deal. But here's the problem with Minnesota. They have a big Kaprizov controversy to worry about right now. And that's why I think Buffalo is better off moving Eichel than not moving him, because they have him and Reinhart, who both went out. You burn your bridge with Eichel. There's no way he can go back after Adams' comment.
I'm still surprised that they have their management still in place after the players did that.
Yeah, I get it. Like you want your guys to take the road that's been traveled, and you want to avoid the surgery if you can. But honestly, it's the athlete's choice. It's his body. It's his choice, and he's gotta make the decision that's gonna give him a better life after hockey is done. You got to worry. You got to remember, these are people. This is a business, but these are people. They are humans that want to live and live with good quality after it's done. So I would say Kaprizov, I think, ends up taking Minnesota out of it. I think LA will eventually circle back around when Adams lowers his price. Adams is going to have to lower his price to get a deal done because I would imagine, due to John Hoven's report, that they were looking at Byfield and they just would not budge off of him, and that's why LA backed out. And Columbus, after seeing
I guess.
Anthony, go ahead.
I guess what I was saying was I guess they could also worst case scenario they could also bring him back. Hope he puts up stellar numbers in Buffalo during the season, and then trade him at the deadline and say, okay, well, he's healthy, he's putting up great numbers, and then try to get a higher value. I mean, I think it's better suited that they trade him sooner, but they also could do that. I mean,
yeah,
if they really didn't like the offers they were getting, they could do that. But I don't think they will, but they could.
But here's the thing: you risk him further getting injured at that point.
Of course.
But he's a distraction in the locker room, and if his numbers continue to drop, then his trade value drops on top of that.
Yeah,
and his numbers were awful this year.
No, they weren't. They weren't awful. He wasn't far off from a point per game player. He just wasn't point per game in Buffalo. But again, it's a dumpster fire of a team. It's a borderline AHL team without him. So you gotta. It's pros and cons. You gotta scale it. What's worth more, him possibly getting hurt, or taking a lesser deal and just getting him out of your hair?
And by the way, Mike, I agree with this 100%. Players Association pushed for higher contracts. Eichel was right there. Should have taken a bridge deal. But and just going to go with one more comment from Sean right here. The media would cast a dark cloud over the organization with Jack Eichel saying too big of a distraction. So if there's anything I learned from this segment, it's we still are uncertain about Jack Eichel, and I need to get Anthony a tripod as well. So,
well, Chris Ryan mentioned before that he was out on he didn't want Gaudreau. Chris, no, Gaudreau is not the type of player that this team needs right now.
No.
I would stay far away from him.
If the Rangers could get somebody with more toughness, like I'm just using him as an example. I'm not using the players like a Brendan Shanahan, like a guy that's tough on the ice, but also productive. Like Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk would fit this team great, but they need him at center. So that's where the problem is. Because they're set on the wings. They're set on the wings for a while, and even with trades. Speaking of the Rangers, the New York Rangers are a playoff team in 2022. I will field this. Beer? Because if you can't buy everybody around on this, because there's going to be a lot of quality just in their own division. If we're going to go back to the structure that we had before, which they haven't announced yet. They haven't announced what the playoff format exactly is. They know that the divisions are going back to the way they were, but you're still getting Carolina coming back in this division. The Islanders, the Penguins, the Capitals. So right there's 4 teams that make it tough. If you go back to last year where you get the 2 wild cards, then you still had, or 2 years ago, I should say, you got Montreal, Toronto, Boston, Tampa Bay, and now Florida. So it's possible they can get better than one of those teams. It's just, it's very difficult. I'd almost say shot, but you know what? We got Gerard Gallant now, and that's what matters. Anthony.
I mean, this is tough, but I'll say beer. I mean, I won't say shot, but if you look at it realistically, like prior years, you can get away with 5 teams from the Metro making the playoffs because the last 2 are the wild cards, and in the Atlantic you had the typical Boston, Toronto, Tampa Bay. But now Florida took strides this year, so you got to think of them as a playoff team again next year. And then you have Montreal, who they had less points than some teams that didn't make the playoffs in the Rangers and the Stars, but based on their performance in the playoffs this year, you have to consider them as a team to make the playoffs too. So now rather than just talking 3 teams in the Atlantic that you could see making the playoffs, now you're talking 5 teams in that division as well. On top of the Hurricanes, the Islanders, the Penguins, the Capitals, So it's gonna be really tough. I had said even going into this year, I had the Capitals and the Penguins out of the playoffs because you're just waiting for those two teams to eventually take a nosedive, and they didn't this year. And I mean, they may not happen next year either. So it's going to be hard for the Rangers. But then again, we have to see what teams do in the offseason. Some teams could get worse. Some teams could get better. But it is going to be a tall order. Ultimately, I say, they fall a little short only because I can't see any of those aforementioned teams just missing it. So, but listen, when you have a team in leagues like the Rangers who can miss the playoffs, that just shows how good the parity is across the league. But it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough.
John?
I'm going to say beer. I'm not leaning towards shot. I'm not really leaning towards round either. I'm literally in the middle with it. Because a lot of what you guys are leaving out is the fact that a lot of their young guns are going to start to produce. And I know that you could just say, oh, well, that's optimism, prospects, so on and so on. But Gerard Gallant is not going to stifle kids anymore like the way that David Quinn did. I think Kakko is really going to break out this year. I think I do agree with Sean's comment that the Capitals are starting to fall off. I think it's Penguins. Yeah, that's possible. And if they don't bring back Jeff Carter, then the Penguins can definitely decline.
And deal of getting Malkin.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to deal Malkin.
I don't think so either.
Happening every year, it seems like, but it never happens. I think the Rangers' young players are going to get better. Adam Fox is going to continue to be Adam Fox. I think Keandre Miller is going to be better. Jacob Trouba is going to be back in the lineup. You remember, this team really kind of fell off when Trouba and Lindgren were out of the lineup at the end of the year. And they were in the hunt until then. So, and that's with having Boston in the division. I get it that Buffalo and Buffalo and New Jersey were really kind of like a help to them. Philly, they're a mixed bag right now. Do we know what we're going to get from Carter Hart next year? Do we know what we're going to get from their defense? The Rangers also have moves to make. Who knows? Right now, you could say that? Yeah, but what happens if they get Eichel? What happens if they add Cizikas or Corrali or Matt Calvert or Tomas Nosek from Vegas? What happens if they add a Braden McNabb or an Alec Martinez? The Rangers are. I'm gonna say beer because we don't even know what moves they're gonna make yet, and if I want to see what this team looks like heading into training camp because I can really give you a better look after that, especially with a new coach that's a lot better than the clown show that was just in MSG. Because apparently David Quinn thought it was a good idea to bring Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey with him. So
and again, to echo what we've said the last couple of weeks and what John's been saying since day one and got me saying about a couple minutes after that, 2 words, Gerard Gallant.
Gerard Gallant.
Speaking of coaches who are good but just can't get their teams over the hump, Pete DeBoer will never get his team over the hump. Anthony?
I'm gonna say shot only because Vegas has a good team. They just ran into a buzzsaw in Montreal. How many times is Marc Stone going to go scoreless or Jonathan Marchessault? They had good goaltending early on from Fleury. Even Leonard was good for them, so they got the goaltending in place. And they allowed the least amount of goals in the National Hockey League. I just think they went cold at the wrong time. Like I said, they ran into a really good Montreal team that's playing hot right now. But I think Vegas is too good of a team to not eventually get over the hump. The only thing is they need to improve their center depth. They need to get a true number one center. And if they did that, watch out. Could you imagine if they had just going to throw a random center out to process the point. But imagine if they had Jack Eichel, a guy like that on Vegas, if they had a true number one center on that team this year, I think they could have got the job done. So, I'm gonna go shot on this. I think he eventually will. I think it was more indicative of the team they ran into.
I go.
Yeah, sorry, John. I got distracted. I was looking at Sean's comment.
I was looking at that too.
Well, answer the comment too.
I'm gonna answer the comment first, and Tocchet would have been my guy there. That was just a dumb move to hire Dave Haxtell. And Dave Haxtell had a good team in Philly. He had the pieces of a really good team, and I get it. Giroux had a career year under him. Voracek had a career year under him. Gostisbehere had a career year under him. Couturier started to break out under him. And you know what? You could talk about that, but there was something in place from Berube with a lot of those guys. But Tocchet would have been my guy there. I just don't get how you bring a guy that hasn't coached in a few years back to coach that team, especially with Tocchet getting what he got out of Arizona. Not saying that they were great, but considering their roster, he actually did okay with them. So, as for this question, are we talking about Pete DeBoer himself, or are we talking about this Vegas team?
Pete DeBoer himself, which I guess also applies to the Vegas team. Like, he's never going to get this Vegas team over the hump.
Well, my thing with Pete DeBoer is it seems like a lot of his teams are just built and predicated the same exact way, and there's just no variance, no dissonance to them. Like, there's just it's just play that defensive shell game and then try to outweigh, and it just there's not enough attack with Vegas, if you ask me. And as Anthony said before, they need a number one center. They don't have a number one center. You can say whatever you want about William Karlsson. William Karlsson is a number two on a cup winner. And Chandler Stevenson, he's a middle six guy as far as I'm concerned right now. Mm-hmm. He hasn't given you that production to be a top six center yet. Maybe he ends up proving me wrong, but Cody Glass, he ain't looking like a great pick right now. I'll tell you that right now. He is not looking good. And they're looking like they traded the wrong prospect in that deal at Chiaretti. So DeBoer had issues with San Jose. He had a real talented team in San Jose and couldn't get it done. That Jersey team in 2012 was kind of like a real fluke, you ask me, and ended up.
They did have over 100 points.
Yeah, but that team was that team was playing over its head. And they ended up falling apart right after that. And then you have him in Florida too. I mean, I just he doesn't strike me as the type of coach that can win it all. So I'm gonna say round here. Actually.
Yeah, it sucks because I think the guy is a good coach, but I got to go round two. I'm the one to pose this question because I don't see it. We did the honest press conferences where I said, yeah, my teams end up falling apart at almost a random moment. You just beat the Colorado Avalanche, and they always play Vegas under DeBoer. They always play down. And I know that takes away credit from Montreal. And by the way, I'm about to give credit to Montreal and their top 100 goaltender of all time, Carey Price. And it's just, I mean, there's something wrong in Vegas. And I'll point to the goalie controversies being number one. You got to make sure those guys knew what the deal was. Because as soon as Fleury had a bad game or made that gaffe in game 3, you knew they were going back to Robin Lehner. And then he goes back to Fleury.
That was dumb.
That was dumb. It's just dumb. Mike also says, I made the mistake of rooting for the fish sticks during the Islander dynasty. I will never make that mistake after all my fish stick friends rooted against the Rangers in 1994. And yes, that happened to me with the Yankees. Where I rooted for the Yankees and first thing a friend of mine said was, where the hell are the Mets? Except it wasn't hell, it was the F word. So I'm trying to keep it family friendly, but I've said fuck 1,000 times on this thing.
Here's a better question. When does Jared Bednar get put on the line?
That's a good one.
That's what I want to know, because that team's stacked, and they just 2 years in a row they couldn't get it done. And now Vegas gets handled by what's viewed as a less in Montreal. I don't know. I really don't get it. I wanna know when he gets put on the hot seat, because they've got a lot of young guys. I get that, but they've also got enough pieces to win it all.
Well, yeah, and now you got a lot of talented coaches on the sidelines right now. So imagine if they had Babcock. So And we could all say, yeah, there's some baggage right there right now. But he also has, that Stanley Cup ring.
Yes, he has that ring. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, I guess then I'll start it because I have to. Montreal is the 2021 team of destiny. I'm buying everybody around. I really don't want it to happen. This is one half of my nightmare. If the Islanders win tonight, it's the full nightmare. It's just everything I don't want. It's I gotta give Montreal credit the way they played. But yeah. It's actually Marc, but yeah. But yeah.
Talking to Mike. He's talking.
Oh, Mike.
Enter.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking to the comment, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, that one.
Yeah, that
All right.
comment.
All right. But unfortunately, I got to give credit to Montreal, and Cole Caulfield's playing a huge part of that.
Mm-hmm.
He is everywhere for them. You see that goal he had last night?
Oh,
He just went in, shelved it on Leonard, and Leonard just looked like what do I have to do to stop this guy? So there's one. The Corey Perry, Eric Stahl line. You could call that the 2003 draft line, where we took Hugh Jackman, and and I mean that line with Joel Armia has been playing great. That might, you could argue that's like their top line. I feel bad for Max Pacioretty because I thought there was no way Max Pacioretty is going to let them win this series, and now he's the former Canadiens captain, watching the guys that they traded for him just keep going. So, FIlk, Europe is Montreal the team of destiny?
I'm buying everybody around on this. I think they're going to end up beating whoever wins this series between the Islanders and Tampa anyway. I don't think there's anybody that's playing better than Carey Price right now in net. I think that's a big problem. I think that when you have a goalie that's playing that well, it messes with your head when you're the opposition. And I know the Islanders are going to go in and say, we're the underdogs if they win. And I know it's going to say, hey, we're the champs. We're the defending champs. We can beat anybody, but I'll tell you right now, you got a goaltender playing the way he is. He's just made save after save after save. Phil, I'm going to say this right now. I said this on Twitter the other day. I might have mentioned it in the group chat. Not sure if I did or not, but they remind me so much of the 93 team. They really do. The 93 team had Kurt Muller, Stefan LeBeau, and Dennis Savard down the middle. And none of those guys were elite centers at the time, but they were good, productive two-way centers, minus Savard, obviously. But, Muller and LeBeau were good two-way centers. They could both play, both ends of the rink. Then the depth on the wings. Danfus was playing wing at the time. A young John Leclerc, pre-Legion of Doom days. Mike Keane, Gilbert Dion, Brian Bellows. You had, and this Montreal team up and down. Just remember, Jonathan Drouin is on LTIR, and Tomas Tatar has been benched. And Tomas Tatar was nearly a point per game. So that goes to show you the depth that they have on the wings. And then on defense, it reminds me of Montreal's core because, Weber's not himself anymore, but he's turning back the clock. Petry's good, but you don't consider Jeff Petry an elite defenseman. But look at the 93 squad. Desjardins, Schneider, Odeline, Daniel, a young Patrice Brisebois. Montreal has a rookie puck mover in Romanov that if he comes back into the lineup, he can play fine. And then you got the guys that could steal the game or the series in Waugh and Price. And that it's almost like a carbon copy of each other, these two teams. So yeah, I'm buying around.
Anthony.
I'm gonna go beer because they did just beat a really good Vegas team. But if you look prior to that, they beat a paper tiger in Toronto who are Charmin soft and fell apart like a cheap suit once they got some pushback. And then they beat a Winnipeg team that's, a little bit flawed. And the only other team ahead of them. Like, so in the whole entire playoffs, Montreal and Winnipeg had the least amount of points. So they went through a relatively soft division in the North, and then they finally played a good team in Vegas. I'm going to give them the credit here. They did just beat a very good team. But I just think they had an easier route as opposed to some of the other teams, like, Tampa Bay in the Central with Florida and Carolina, the Islanders in the East with Pittsburgh and Boston. So I just think in the first 2 rounds, I had a little bit of an easier time. But again, I am going to give them due with Vegas. They played a very good Vegas team and won. Now, at the same time, you could say, is Tampa a team of destiny, going to win a Stanley Cup back-to-back, the first team to do it since Pittsburgh? Could you say the Islanders are a team of destiny, closing down the Coliseum in its last year ever by winning the Cup? I think you can make a case of all the 3 teams remaining could be a team of destiny. But I'm just going beer just because of Montreal's path there. I thought they had a little bit of an easier time with Toronto and Winnipeg.
I just want to go back to that comment at 93, and I've said this to Anthony before. You're not beating. They weren't beating Montreal with Turgeon. It doesn't matter. I know he got hurt by Hunter. I know the cheap shot play. It's one of the dirtiest plays in NHL history. They beat a better Kings team in the finals with Wayne Gretzky scoring 40 points in a postseason. 40 points. The Islanders were not beating them. Stop.
That when I look at hockey, that is the ultimate team of destiny. The Montreal Canadiens, who won 10 overtime games in 1993, including
back-to-back winners in the finals.
Yeah. Back-to-back OT winners in the finals. And if I recall correctly, scored by the same person, John LeClair, both times.
Yes, that's what I just said.
Oh, you just did? All right, sorry. The audio went out for a second.
Winners in the finals.
Yeah. I mean, that's unreal. And I do have to giving Carey Price credit. Carey Price as a person, magnificent guy. I loved his thing that he did for the fan in the last awards that the NHL had. The guy's a great guy, gives his time to charity. I just hated that the Canadian press especially looks at him as one of the top 100 players of all time. And I just go, you got to be kidding me. And in one way, and you know what? In one way, him winning a cup is just going to cement that. And it is what it is. And in the meantime, Henrik Lundqvist has got 90 more wins than him and is going to be viewed as inferior. So, and he hasn't done it with much less. Any team with Wayne Gretzky in his prime, winning Stanley Cups, yes. And Gretzky, truly the great one. 40 points in the 93 season, as FIlk said, or postseason. No, I think you're wrong. They beat Pittsburgh, who was a juggernaut, and Pittsburgh would have beaten Montreal.
Defense. They had no defense. Larry Murphy and what else?
Yeah. McStorley's sick was a little bit more curved. He would need a concealed carry permit. Yeah. I just also, by the way, I can't help but point out this. Marty McSorley had a curved stick that was illegal in the closing minutes of Game 2 when they would have gone up 2-0. And I can't help but say, why? You're not known for your shot. You don't need a curved stick. So is it just to put the puck out of play, which was legal back then? But that's just, that's just dumb.
I don't know.
But again, you know what, guys? Thank you for joining us on the Bar Talk. Is Montreal the team of destiny? Do the Islanders need Semyon Varlamov to outplay Andrei Vasilevsky? Does the first goal decide the game today? Are the Rangers better off trying to go for a Matthew Tkachuk than a Jack Eichel? And are they a playoff team in 2022? Is Pete DeBoer ever going to be more than just hockey's Marty Schottenheimer? So actually, that's a lie because hockey's Marty Schottenheimer is Bruce Boudreau. So sadly, that's what that is. More painful was his spearing. Yeah, that was his game. That was definitely Marty's game. His brief moment as a New York Ranger, I knew that as well. All right, we actually don't have any on us press conferences today. We're gonna do some editorials first, and then barbecue Bruce. The Rangers going with the kids in the current roster, and do they need to go on for a year? Yeah, I'm still not sold on Eichel. We'll get fully into that right now. Anthony, you got any thoughts? Do you want to do for your editorial?
Yeah, I have one.
Good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the.
They just do what they always do.
Why is he putting Leo Komarov on the first line? Like,
Welcome to the Rock.
So today I'm going to be talking about, and I kind of touched on it really early on, what a New York Islanders victory tonight would mean to Islander fans, and specifically Islander fans who I would say are around my age, maybe from, anywhere from 40 and younger. I grew up as a diehard Islanders fan. I remember my dad bringing me to games when I was about my daughter's age, so like 4 years old. There was a picture he has of me on the ice with Adam Creighton at one point. I don't know how he got down there, made a one something, but I went there my whole life, and I remember watching games with him on the couch growing up. Every time they scored, giving each other a high five, him picking me up. So for people my age, we haven't really had that much joy. We missed out on all the cup years. And for someone like me, like as I really got older and started to understand hockey, by the time that came around, the dark ages started. Yeah. In 93, that year, the run they had against Montreal, I was 8 years old. So while I remember it, I didn't really feel it emotionally as I would now. And then, as you guys know, the dark ages started after the sweep in 94. Since that point, we endured so much hardships and just mockery with bad ownership. John Spano, the Gang of Three, changing our cherished Islander logo to a fisherman and getting mocked by everybody. We want fish sticks. Trading our star player Ziggy Palffy because ownership didn't want to pay him and they were cheap, which made me cry. I remember coming home from school, my brother and my dad telling me about it, and I cried like a baby. He was my favorite player. Any Islander fan testified to watching him. He was electric, and he was the one good thing that we had in a time where we didn't have much. And then came along the early 2000s again. We struggled, and Charles Wang was there to save the team and bail us out and bring some ray of hope again. He brought some stable ownership back to the Islanders, tried to get a building done. Milbury, I'm not going to go into the moves he made, but they did get us back into the playoffs for the first time in 7 or 8 years. But long-term future, it really hurt us. So they were decent for a little while there. The early 2000s, coupled with the lockout, 2007, they were a fringe playoff team, lost to Buffalo, and then once again after that, we had lean years again, where you have 6,000 people at a game, and I'm talking like pre-Tavares, 2008, 2009, and again we were a laughing stock. The Neil Smith fiasco, get fired. That was 2007, but Gar Snow took over. So what this means is, and I can get emotional talking about it, but it was nice to finally have John Ledecky and Scott Malkin come along and treat us like a professional organization again, where we have respect, and just be able to connect and be with my dad and be proud of a team that you could root for, and finally doing the right thing and not feeling like we're a joke anymore. To get this far again for the second year in a row, I've never experienced this before, and to have this happen, it's when a season starts, you always think to yourself in your head, like when you're daydreaming, imagine if your team's the one that goes to the final or wins it all. And then you kind of come back to reality, and it's like, oh, well, there's 31 teams in the league. That's going to be hard to do. The fact that it's this close away and we've been starved for it for so long, it's going to make that much sweeter if it does happen, but the heartbreak is going to be tremendous. So what I'll end with is, again, I'm not my dad's age, I didn't experience all those cup years, or people who are even 50 years old. They knew what it was like to have that ultimate euphoria, and to have this be this close, and you want it so bad and struggle for so long. Again, I think I could speak for the whole Islander fan base when I say if we win this game, no matter what happens in the finals, it's a team that we'll never remember, and it's a period in our lives that you'll never remember, because you guys know, there are franchises across all sports where a fan can root for that team and never in their life to the day they die experience a championship. It's not guaranteed. And, once in a lifetime scenario sometimes. And I'm not greedy. I just want one trip to the finals and possibly a cup, but it will mean the world to Islander fans everywhere if we can get the job done tonight. And sorry about, getting a little choked up before. I think it just shows for my passion and just in general our passion the fan base has, how much we want this tonight.
Never apologize for that. Never, ever, ever apologize for that ever again. If I see you and you're apologizing for that, I'm going to smack you for that. Right now. That was inspirational. You know me. I ain't rooting for them, but that was inspirational. So
it almost made me want to root for them, man. It almost did. And I'm sitting there going, don't cry. Don't cry, because then I'm going to have to root for them.
Anthony's definitely tugging at the but he's right. Yeah, Chris, definitely.
But yeah, let it out. But you know what? And I think what you're also echoing is the way John and I felt in either 2012 or even 2014, where it was we had, especially to 2014, where we knew that and actually, by the way, Sean liked that.
Yeah.
It's
Thank you.
2014 where they finally had the chance to go, and then they went. And if you're me and John, not only were you happy I was happy to watch the Rangers on my birthday, which is June 7th. The second time in my life I was able to do that. But but then it got taken away from us, because that's the thing. I still feel like the refs screwed us in that series.
Yeah.
In 2015, it felt like they were going to do it. It was definitely going to happen. And now looking back at it, Matt Zuccarello's injury really meant a lot more than what I thought it did. So it's you need all the ducks in a row. This is where I say to some fans of mine that are going, "Oh, you guys have won a championship in 70 years." You know how difficult it is to win one. One. You know how many championships of the teams I follow I've gotten in my lifetime? 2. I've watched them both. I'm happy to say that. I was 8 years old and 16. The New York Mets and the New York Rangers. So, and as I turned to a friend of mine last night, I went, you know what? I guess I should root for the Islanders a little bit, because he's never seen a championship for any team that he's ever rooted for, except for a kid with the Mets. It's just, I would love to see it for you.
Here's another thing to add to that. You look at all these teams like the Blackhawks, Penguins, and the Kings, and they're winning multiple. You don't realize how spoiled you are to get 2 multiple cups in one decade. I mean, and that's why the Islanders were spoiled back then in the 80s when they won 4 in a row. You were just seeing something that was never going to happen again. And then the Oilers came along, and Wayne Gretzky was just Wayne Gretzky. Who was going to stop Wayne Gretzky except for Steve Smith? So but it just you don't realize it. Pittsburgh won 3 in 9 years. They won 3 in 8. If we think about it, or 9 seasons rather. 2009, 16, and 17, and you to win that many in that sort of a time. Chicago won 3 in 6 seasons. You don't see that. And you know what? Chicago might not see another one for a very long time. And
the Kings had 4 years in a row where they went to the conference finals. And
13.
Twice. It was 2012, 2013, 2014. Nope, sorry, not 2014. My mistake. 2015. Well, yeah, they did go in 2014. What an idiot.
Go in 2015. Anaheim lost to Chicago.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had years in a row where they went to the conference finals and won 2 Stanley Cups.
Still 3. Yeah, still 3.
It just that success. You know what? And that's the thing with the Islanders. This could be the last time they get this close for a bit. And I'm not saying like ever again or but they have a cap crunch coming. This is their shot. And you know what? It kind of reminds me of Anthony. Remember what Joe Beninati told us when we had the show we had him on about how it was their last chance to do this with Trotz?
Yeah, what? Yeah.
That maybe that's the case here. Barry's got the experience there. Maybe he rallies the troops.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And you know something? That's why Barry Trotz is here. That's why Barry Trotz is a legend. And
I'll kind of say is like you mentioned 2014 and same thing. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like obviously I didn't want to see the Rangers win the cup in '94. I was happy when LA won, but at the same time, I have a lot of friends. Obviously John included, that are diehard Ranger fans. I'm not talking about just like a casual Ranger fan. Diehard Ranger fans that, yeah, I didn't want them to win, but at the same time, I said to myself, you know what? It would be cool, and I would be happy for them because I know how much it would mean to them. So I get there's that definite line. Like I know you guys don't want the Islanders to win, but same thing. I'm sure if they did, you'd be happy for people like me who've just dealt with so much shit throughout the years. So
yeah.
I get that. I get it.
You, your brother, your father, Fiore, Chris, my Uncle Rich. I mean, you know what? There are a lot of dumb fans that say a lot of dumb things.
Yeah.
And those fans, I wouldn't be happy for them, but I'd be happy for the ones that I know that have stuck there through. Like Anthony's true. If you want a guy that literally sat there, I mean, I met you in 2005?
Yeah.
And that 2006 season, they missed the playoffs. We didn't know what the hell was happening. And then Buffalo the next year. And we both wanted Gary Bettman's head for the calls that Buffalo was getting away with that postseason in both series. I was there with you at the draft party when they drafted Tavares in 2009.
Yep. But
you know what? At the end of the day, it's sports. It's sports. If the Islanders win, then you know what? Yeah, I don't want it to happen. But you know what? I'll be happy for my friends. They deserve it.
By the way, Chris, earlier I was saving this towards the end of the segment, which is he asked if we gave our predictions. Just to remind you, Anthony's got the Islanders winning tonight. I have Tampa surviving, but I got a bad feeling the Islanders are going to win, and FIlk has got Tampa winning. Honestly, diehard.
They do.
Yeah, they do. But you know what? The key thing is now the Rangers are building a good car. Now they don't have a drunk driver. So it's just come on. When somebody was saying to me, they go, "Oh, the Rangers are that close." I go, "No, they're not. They still have David Quinn." So, but tons of Penguins fans. Sean saying this, they were spoiled. They were spoiled by they won the lottery. Literally almost twice. Once by tanking and once by actually just the NHL handing it over to them. And then
that 2005 lottery was rigged.
Yeah, well, I 100% think it was rigged for the wrong team. Yeah. But no, it's just he just wasn't the right coach for this team. I credit FIlk with getting that through my head. My dad was telling me that they need an enforcer. Yeah, they do. The Rangers do need an enforcer. But all right. We're gonna move on to On the Mark. Let's make sure that I got that off. And
there you go.
It's a little quickie. This prediction that's right up here.
Being single most of my life.
Or just yell at Larry Brooks like every other New York Ranger. All right. Well, I really want to say that I want to root for the Islanders. I'm a bartender, and I would love it if this was my job, but we're not monetized yet, so we're working on that though. And the hard part is when I'm seeing guys after games coming on in and they want to celebrate the Islanders winning. I have no problem with that. Last week, Ryan Pullock, that block was sensational. That's still one of those things I look over and go, my God, that was a great block. So as I tried to go talk to some friends about it, and instead they were all taunting me about where the Rangers are. I know the Rangers missed the playoffs. It happened already. It's already over. But instead, we're going to talk about the Rangers. Make it about your team. We could talk about your team. Your team is still playing. Mine is not. Why does it have to be about my team? You know, again, I wondered this when I was 18 years old watching the Yankees win the World Series. Charlie Hayes catching that pop-up. And before I knew it, my friend Joe stuck right in my face. Where the hell are the bats? Again, it's really just fuck. That's what he said. But I keep stepping away from that, thinking it's in the YouTube guidelines. But it's just no. Make it about you. I was rooting for your team, so that's what makes it difficult for me. I want to root for the Islanders today. There's a lot of friends and family that I have. Well, not really any family. Fortunately, we got rid of all of them. Kidding. They're I think don't even know any family that's Ranger fans. Islander fans. But again, make it about your team. If the Islanders win tonight, go out and celebrate. I mean, I'd gladly, Adam, if you're watching, I'll gladly buy you a shot. But although you're going to be wasted anyway, and listen to you guys sing the stupid chants and all the other stuff. It's just, maybe I don't want them to win, but it's just, make it about your team. It doesn't have to be about mine. So, boys, any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I agree with you. There was some actually, John. I think you commented on it or tweeted it, but I remember seeing it too. There was some court up some Twitter account Islander fan tweeted.
He's an idiot.
The Islanders announced the other day that they now have 15,000 season ticket holders membership to Belmont. And listen, that's great. It's a wonderful thing. It's a brand new building. The team's good. Yes, that's good. But the person tweeted, the Islanders now have more season ticket holders than the Rangers. It's like, dude, shut up. Our team is in the middle of conference final, semifinal, whatever you want to call it. Going into a game 6. Why or game 5? I don't know when it was, but why do you care about pointing that out? Who gives a shit? Honestly, who gives a shit? Honestly, it doesn't matter. Stuff like that, Mark. I hear you. It's stupid. Make it about. It's our team right now. It's our time, and those type of comments aren't needed really. And I think it's twofold why you see those type of things. One, I think it's because, first and foremost, the Islanders, as I mentioned, we've been so beaten down before, and the Rangers ran New York for so long that now I guess some people feel like flexing their muscles and saying, we're a good team now. Fine. That's one. Two, I also think it's because, and you get this on both sides. I remember there were certain Ranger fans when the Rangers were doing well and going on their playoff runs. They'd make comments about how the Islanders won't see this and they're a bad team. So it goes both ways. But at the end of the day, there's no need for it. Shut up. Don't talk about the Rangers. It doesn't matter right now. It's dumb. Focus on your team. I 100% agree with Mark. Very, 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 very much so.
Go first, FIlk, and then I'll give my second rebuttal on this.
I don't get it either. I really don't. In 2014, I was on too much of a high to worry about the Islanders. The only time that I ever really bother with stuff like that is if people come at me saying stuff like that. You really, the only reason why I responded to that idiot was because of the fact that he's going around trying to perpetuate something that really kind of a false narrative if you actually look at the attendance numbers. So, I mean, yeah, that's great. You have more seats and ticket holders. But in the grand scheme of things, what the fuck does that even mean? Seriously, answer me that question. Because it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that you're an idiot that has the Rangers living rent-free inside your head, you moron. So just shut up. And he looks like a tool on top of that. And he posts these dumb posts. He's one of those guys that, I wonder if he's just more of somebody who hates the Rangers than he actually is an Islander fan at times. And listen, I've seen that from Ranger fans too. I don't get it. I don't bother with it. I mean, my friend that comments on this, the Met fan, David. He's one of those guys who roots for every team that plays against the Yankees, no matter who it is. Doesn't matter. It could be game 37 of the season. It's a Tuesday night game. There's the attendance is like 20,000 in the park. Doesn't mean shit. The Yankees could be out of the race, and he's rooting for the opposition. What? I don't root against the Mets. I don't root against the Jets. The only team, and you know what? Listen, honestly, I just watch hockey. If it helps the Rangers in the standings, yeah, I'm going to root against the Islanders. But it's because it helps my team in the damn standings. You know what? And if the Islanders winning helps the Rangers in the standings, then let's go Islanders. What the hell is the point in being so obsessed with another team, especially when they're not in the playoffs, when you're in the middle of a semi-final series? Like, you have to be brain damaged. I'm sorry, no, I won't even use that, because that's an insult to brain damaged people. That's an insult to people who are brain dead too. And you know what? You have to be a special level of stupid, a special level of obsessed to harp on a team like the Rangers right now. Like, listen, you want to do it? Go right ahead. Be my guest. I think it's the most stupid thing ever. I'm not happy that my team missed the playoffs. I'm not happy that my team is in a rebuild. But you know what I'm happy about? The fact that they're only going to go up, and they're going to be back, and they're going to be better than they were before. You know what? So trash on them if you want, but you look like a moron for doing it. So shut up and worry about your own team.
Like, I do have to admit, I am guilty of doing it during the regular season. And I won't ever say let's go Islanders, but I'll kind of be like, there's a benefit if you win. But because my ongoing joke for a while was, why are the Islanders the perfect guy to go drinking with? Because they can only get through one round. Oh, sorry, they can't get through one round. That's what it was. Because they'll never make it to the second round. Got it. All right. Well, it's been 6 years since I've been able to say the joke. And as soon as the Islanders won, actually, you know what? My friend Chris, rightfully so, I was working, and when the Islanders beat Florida, he looked at me and went, "When's the last time we won a playoff series?" But he said it to me, and I was like, "Right now, Chris." He goes, "Yeah, all right, that's what happened." So I worked for an NHL team in South Florida. Yeah. But I mean,
doesn't mean shit. It really.
And also, by the way, season subscriptions. They could also be a lot of corporate people. They could also be a lot of the other stuff. But again, make it about your team. I'm just going to ask you guys real quick, should we bring up the tweet that we saw?
What tweet?
What tweet?
The one in the group chat.
Oh, that one?
Oh,
go ahead.
I mean,
I personally, I wouldn't give that person time of day, but I'm going to say this right now. I'm not going to mention a name. Don't pull up the tweet because you're just giving that person attention.
Okay.
But anybody who makes jokes about a tragedy like 9/11, you're a piece of shit. And I hope that whatever comes your way, you get it tenfold.
So what you might not know is he took the Islander symbol, put it on a plane flying into the World Trade Center, and Tampa Bay was, I think, the clouds.
No. He put.
I don't give a flying fuck about who you root for.
Right. That's
you do not ever make jokes about that.
Thousands of people died that day.
Yeah.
How much of an asshole could you be?
No, not an asshole. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You're lower than sidewalk gum attached to the bottom of a person's shoe, walking around who doesn't even know we have it. You're worthless. You're garbage.
Yeah.
He put the Islander logo on the building, Mark, and the Lightning logo on the plane.
On the plane.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's saying that Lightning are going to bring down the Islanders.
Okay.
Like,
no.
Let's go.
Yeah. And by the way, as I said to Anthony before, that doesn't make any sense considering that it's also in the city where the Rangers are. But that's a different story. But again, it's just don't bring up 9/11 ever.
Like, how much of a scumbag do you have to be to do that? Like, you can't just do something else, like to say you're rooting for your team to win. Like, that's just this. It's just.
This is also what happens now when you're downplaying historical significance of events. That's first time in hundreds of years a foreign power attacked the mainland United States. And yes, Mike, incredibly low class and tasteless.
Yeah.
So, but obviously we always want to get your thoughts on it. Like, share, subscribe. It's such a it's hard for me to even segue into something else because I was disgusted about it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it also just doesn't make sense. It's like again, I'm trying to but it's
Yeah. Oh,
I don't even want to deal with it, but on the other hand, we end up having to deal with it. So what a wonderful roll on that. John, you got anything?
Yeah, no. Sean's comment about Twitter being the bathroom wall is probably one of the most accurate analogies I've seen in quite some time. Because about it, bathroom wall, what did you do? Or the side of the stall, you wrote dumb shit. Somebody writes something dumb back, and somebody writes something even more classless back, and then somebody writes a racial slur or something like that back at somebody else. You know what?
Yeah.
Twitter is just it's. As much as I like talking to the people I talk to on there, sometimes I'm just like, what am I doing on this thing?
Yeah.
But,
John, do you have an editorial?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, my FIlk opinion.
You're going nowhere.
Then there's no. I'm looking at you, Jim.
I'm gonna hear the name and I'm gonna get PTSD.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Well, no Macho Man this week. I'm already all wrestlinged out there, with the Ric Flair. But got some news on the NHL front that came in, I think it was yesterday or the day before. But Marc Messier is now joining ESPN as an analyst. So the two halves of the 1996 NHL on Fox Odd Couple commercial are now signed to two different networks to be faces and analysts on NHL TV now. And that's only great for the sport. I mean, Wayne Gretzky to TNT, like I said, was a huge get when it ended up happening. I think Marc Messier to ESPN is another huge get for them. You want people with some pedigree, some recognizable names, and who are two of the most recognizable names in the history of hockey? Gretzky and Messier. And they're going to be on the TV. They're going to be talking hockey with us. Hopefully they kind of just be themselves. Wayne opens up a little bit. Wayne has a thing for being a little dry from what I've noticed, but I really do hope Wayne opens up because I think Wayne could give us some real quality bits. But Messier in ESPN is, I think it's a great match, great fit. But I like this for a variety of reasons. I think it gives you someone who's got some real good hockey experience. Obviously, that goes without saying. It's somebody who's got a little bit of an edge to him. I mean, he was known for being quite a badass in his playing day, and he knows how to handle big markets. Messier is somebody who's really good at speaking in front of a camera. He's good with speaking with a microphone in his face. I think that's just a great fit, great nab there by ESPN. I know that I believe Kevin Weeks was hired by them previously as well. I mean, they're building up some good casts over here. Pierre Maguire so far. Nobody's picked up Keith Jones. Nobody's picked up Patrick Sharp. But, these crews are pretty well rounded, I would say, so far. So we've got a good cast of people. Just hoping to see some Gary Thorne called games with maybe with Bill Clement coming back with him. That'd be nice. Steve Levy. Unfortunately, John Saunders and Dave Strader are no longer with us. They were two voices of our childhoods. I know the three of us watched a lot of hockey on ESPN. So, maybe Marc Messier could be that for the definitely happy that he's not behind the Rangers bench. As much as I love Mess, it's just not a fit. And the people that keep asking for him, he's never coached before. He's literally never coached before. So let's stop asking for him to be coach. But I think that this adds a fresh new face to ESPN, a very recognizable one. I think people are going to be a little more apt to turn on the TV and turn on ESPN if they see that Marc Messier is there. So could you imagine Marc Messier doing like NHL Tonight with like Barry Melrose and John Butchergross? Because there's going to be no Chicken Parm Ray for our reunion apparently with TSN, even though I think they do some. You know what? They do some crossover stuff. I know that Mackenzie's been on ESPN in the past and others. So, maybe Chicken Parm Ray Ferraro comes back for a little bit too. But yeah, Sean, seriously, Gary Thorne was like the voice of my childhood with hockey. Center ice really didn't come out as a package until about 2002, I would say. At least for most providers. I think DirecTV made it earlier.
Yeah, because I had it in 2000.
Yeah, because there was I think it was called what was the name of it? Something Star was the name of the TV program, and they had the center ice package before everybody else did in the 90s, and I don't remember, but they were the company that first had it. I talked to somebody on Twitter about it a while ago, but you know what? A guy like Messier could branch across all different sports. A lot of people know him. This is only a good thing for ESPN. I can't wait to see next season and the new footage and the new coverage and the new faces coming in. I just think this is going to be the start of good things to come for the NHL.
I just think poor Anthony has to hold his phone throughout the entire thing.
I've forgotten, like, they've hired so many people now. I forgot who landed who. Like, Kevin Weeks, Ray Ferraro. They're all either Anson Carter, Callahan, Steve Levy. Levy I know is ESPN, but a lot of those guys, I can't remember if they landed with TNT or ESPN. But regardless, Kevin Weeks, they're all in the fold with Gretzky and Messier. It's going to be a great telecast, I think, for sure. Kenny Albert, Eddie Olczyk's hired by one of them.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a good job so far. They really have. And Messier and Gretzky, like you said, two guys that just kind of demand respect within the game. That can only be a good thing.
I hope Mess is all the spice that ESPN needs. I don't need ESPN bringing different points of view in there. And Gretzky is actually the grounded voice that I want for TNT because I want all the spice on TNT. TNT, I've said before, I think they have a potential to blow it out of the water at TNT because you can have Shaq and Charles Barkley just stop right on it. And Shaquille O'Neal would be phenomenal as just as a guest. I can imagine him doing an on-ice segment in his size 25 skates. That would be absolutely phenomenal. And
can Bauer make a custom boot for him with like a quadruple E wide foot? Because
they could.
That man's foot got to be huge.
Yeah. They could. And you know what? And so again, I mean, I actually want ESPN to be the robotic one. I want TNT to be the fun one. And it's not hockey with you know what? They could use Don Cherry, but I think Don Cherry really is the Canadian guy. We need an American Don Cherry. Somebody that's
would be nice, but that ain't gonna happen.
Who?
Jeremy Roenick would be nice, but that's not.
Yeah. I mean, NBC had a great thing going when it was Roenick and Hull at one point. Then Hull accepted the job with the Dallas Stars, and then he was out of TV.
I loved Roenick. I think Roenick should be back in some capacity. That would be great.
Shall I come back to this one? I like this one. Adding Avery on a panel would be great.
Oh my God, that would be interesting.
Even Avery as a segment. I don't have the same love affair every Ranger fan has with Sean Avery, but I mean, as a segment, he would be something. But again, you know what? That's what I like about these telecasts is that they're actually doing this and they're laying groundwork. I would love to see what their formula is going to be. Again, I would love something as fun as when the NHL on Fox first came in because they they were fun. But I kind of like the NBC robotic format where I don't have to worry about like him or hate him. Avery is entertaining as all hell.
Yeah, I would agree. He's entertaining. You know what? The ESPN growing up, like their telecasts were always entertaining, no matter who they had calling the games. And it was just a great crew. That's what made part of what made hockey fun growing up. Is those guys, the John Butchergross references, what Eddie Van Halen is to Van Halen, Marc Messier is to the Rangers. Those references are great. I mean,
Butchergross is phenomenal.
Yeah. I love Butchie.
Like he's still my favorite anchor at ESPN. Him and Linda Cohen, actually. I'll throw Linda Cohen in there.
Linda Cohen, my girl, Ranger fan.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I love her.
And I met Linda Cohen. I met her outside of a Rangers Flyers game in 2016, I think it was. She was at the game with her dad. Really nice. And the funny part is, my friend Scott, who runs We Are Blue Shirt Nation, turns to me and just kind of nudged me. Go, is that do I know her? I'm like, oh yeah, it's Linda Cohen. It's just
that's awesome.
Yeah, didn't want to draw too much attention, but. Yeah, no, that's it. And again, it's phenomenal. So, yeah. But what do you think? Who else do you want to see on ESPN or TNT as an analyst? I mean, yeah. Well, you know what? Filkin nailed it. His coverage at an edgy feel. Yeah. Again, it had so much more fun. I mean.
But you know, it's sad these days when again we don't get into politics on this show, but the way like everything is so PC right now, it's sad that I don't even think they'll probably be allowed to have that edginess to it. Like everything's all
that edgy though. Like it was.
Yeah.
I think it was edgy without the politics.
Yeah. I think there was. I don't know if edge is
the right word.
The right word for it. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you ask me, it was cool. Like they were funny. Mm-hmm. And they didn't really there wasn't really a need for a filter because they wasn't required it. Just they never got to that point.
Like you brought up a good point when I mentioned Patrick Sarp, how like the one thing I agree with you, like he's very bland, like and even Keith Jones, he's very, not much personality to them. Like I know Milbury was a fool, but like Milbury and Roenick, at least they were like entertaining. They weren't afraid to like say something that was outlandish, and they used to have that banter back and forth, almost like where whether it was pretend or not, if they didn't like each other, it was that type of dynamic that at least like it was kind of like funny at times. Like Jones and Sharp, it's just like it's very stale. It's very vanilla. There's no like none of that.
I agree there, and yeah, Sean, I that makes sense. It wasn't overused, but I don't know. ESPN, I mean NBC, just there's nothing to it. It just doesn't feel like Liam McHugh. I get he's a Long Island guy, just good for him, but there's nothing there with him. At least like with NHL Network, like Jamison Coyle, like. I like Jamison Coyle. Is he like the greatest? Oh, but you know what? At least he spices it up. There's always a good vibe and a good energy from Jamison Coyle. No matter what segment he's on, no matter where he is, it just no matter who he's with, like you get the sense that Jamison Coyle genuinely loves going to work and is like a little kid in a candy shop when he gets in there. And I like that vibrance and that exuberance from him. And that's why I think he's good at what he does, because he gives you that. And NBC and ESPN and TNT, they have to have those guys. And you know what? Tell you, Butchergross is there. You're going to get that from Butchie.
Now, by the way, and he would be a great studio host for ESPN. What the guy said? You want somebody with passion? You're not going to get him, unfortunately. John Davidson had a lot of passion and a lot of Great information, great stories to tell. He was one of the first people to rag on the Rangers when the superstar team in 2000 just failed to make the playoffs. Sean again just would say Pierre gets a lot of crap. He's most warranted, but Pierre always looks like he's having a great time. And you know what?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with that.
He is. The problem I have with Pierre is that he goes off too much on a tangent about stuff that really doesn't apply much to the game itself. Like, he'll sit there and tell you about everybody's junior career and where they were playing, their Bantam or, days. Like, constantly refers to Steven Stamkos playing in Markham, with all those guys. You've said it 15 million times, Pierre. You've said it. You've heard it. We know it. Just stop. Like, I don't have anything against Pierre Maguire as a person. I just think that there needs to be a different voice there.
I do have to say, it's a little bit ironic that FIlk or me would ever talk about people going on tangents. But you're right about that. That's a problem with him. It's sort of like, geez, do we have to hear about their junior career every 5 seconds? Or give me the significant moments, not just, the other ones like that. If anybody's got any extra Q&A, you want to put them in the comments right now. If not, we're actually going to wrap up this short show. It's a short show. Because it's only 2 hours.
Did anyone see Marc Bergevin's reaction last night when they won? Like, he was going nuts. Like, that was like unbridled passion right there. Bergevin was loving every second of that.
Marc Bergevin?
Yeah.
I look at that segment, and that's a guy that's like, yes, I was proved right. My decisions were correct.
He was trying to, like, it just made me think, like, if that's the Islanders that win tonight, like, Big Lou is such like a serious, like, professional. Like, you would never see Big Lou jumping up and down.
But
you wouldn't see that.
No, because he's also done it at least 4 times. So, wait, hold on, 5 times. He might do it for the Islanders. You know what? He might do it.
I don't know. He just seems. I mean, I don't know him behind closed doors, but he just seems such like a serious, just like been there before type of guy. Like, I don't foresee him reacting like that.
Nah.
But you know who might? Barry Trotz, because think about Barry Trotz when he went back to Washington and for the first time with the Islanders, and they gave him the video tribute, and it showed him with the Stanley Cup, and he turned around to the team and said, "That's going to be us this year, boys." Fortunately, it wasn't, but it could be this year. Instead of buying out Tony D, why not make him an announcer? Oh no.
He had that one own podcast, but I don't know if that's really going over.
No, I actually would distance myself from Tony D'Angelo, not because of any other reason than Tony D'Angelo. Just go on, fix your life, figure out whatever you're going to be as a person and as a player. Your career's not over. Go ahead. You could go somewhere else and succeed. Just be better. Just be a better teammate. Start with that.
There was that report that Montreal wanted him. How much do you think he's kicking himself now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, no, I want to get bought out. No. Actually, I remember that. We were doing it was a trade deadline recap, and we did that. And
he'd be part of a Stanley Cup, a team that's going to the Stanley Cup Finals. I don't know if he does or not, but you would think maybe he has some sort of regret there. But
you should be.
I would imagine to a point, but it strikes me that the agent probably told him to take the best financial course for him financially.
He'll land somewhere. They'll buy him out. He'll land somewhere.
He will.
Yeah,
he's too.
I still think trading him is the best option, not buying him out. But they've explored that, and it's working.
He's ticketed for a buyout. I would be surprised if he's traded this offseason.
Well, the buyout only, I think it's $833,000 that would be on the books for a buyout. because he's an RFA. So it depends. Like, you really much for him after he was basically sat out almost an entire season with baggage like that. I don't think you could get much for him in a trade. It just, unless like part of
Not
it,
now.
not now.
There's no value.
Yeah,
No.
I think teams know that he's going to get bought out, and they're just waiting for that. Somebody will take a chance on him. That's it.
The only thing that doesn't make me or feel bad about it in any way, not anything against Tony. I was never really enamored with him to begin with, but is that Nils Lundqvist is coming right up. Braden Schneider is right behind him. Matthew Robinson's there. Tomo Rionen. The Rangers are deep on defense. They don't have to worry about losing Tony DeAngelo. So,
Yeah.
and although, would you still say they're the winners in the Derek Stepan trade?
I mean, Derek Stepan had literally fell off of a cliff in Arizona. I mean, Antti Ranta has been good when he's been healthy. He was really good in 2018, but he hasn't been healthy since. Obviously, Elias Anderson is Elias Anderson. I mean, he got them Will Cooley in this 2020 draft. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with Will Cooley. If Will Cooley turns out to be I don't think Seattle's going to do that. I really don't think they're going to do that. I think he's going to get bought out.
I think there's somewhere there's a team out there. I would hesitate to say Seattle could take him, but unfortunately, I don't think Tony should go to Seattle. That's the last place Tony should go to play.
He just will not fit in with that city at all.
No, but you know what? He would be a number one defenseman.
He would
play
be
producer for him.
Yeah, he would be their power play quarterback in a heartbeat. But Seattle would probably, again, wait until he's bought out, because if they claim in the expansion draft, then they have to claim it at full salary. So $4.85 million. I think PK Subban will probably be available. Whether Seattle claims him or not, that's another story.
Yeah, that's because then you have to claim his contract.
Well, I think he only has 1 year left on his deal, Subban.
We're getting close to our Seattle show. We got to start focusing on that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I got to get dinner and get ready for this game tonight and get ready. I know it's dinner at 4:30. The life of a night worker. First, thanks to everybody for joining us and the three guys that are left. It's always a pleasure to do these. The reason why we're doing these is for you. We are growing as a channel. We're growing with likes. We're growing with views. We're growing with insults at us. So as long as you guys keep on at least interacting, we'll keep on making the videos for you. Because I hope to have some big news for you in a couple weeks. But it's the worst part about this is, take it easy, Mike. And of course, Optimum Wi-Fi sucks. But the worst part about this is I forgot to say how Anthony has come on the show and now we have to rename it. So it's sort of like that's the compliment we could give him. It's just there you go. All right. FIlk, any last words about tonight?
Going to be a slobber knocker, as Jim Ross would say.
I think this might be a game 7 that people are going to be talking about for a while.
Yeah.
No.
Hey.
Yeah. All right. Sean, thanks again for stopping by with us. We keep on getting the positive words on the content. So we hope to keep going up on it. So all right. Guys, take it easy. Good God almighty. Yeah.
He broke it in half.
All right. Well, again, have a good night.
Take care, everybody.